Your morning routine might be slowly poisoning you. These 9 beloved breakfast chains are serving up more than pancakes and coffee. They're dishing out expired ingredients, temperature violations, and kitchen nightmares that could turn your sunny side up into a one-way ticket to food poisoning. Let's start with the breakfast chain that built its reputation on fluffy stacks and family dining. IHOP might promise fresh pancakes made to order, but former employees paint a very different picture of what's really happening behind those kitchen doors. That pancake batter you think is being mixed fresh for your table, it's actually been sitting in industrial containers for 3 to 5 days before it ever hits the griddle. Multiple former cooks from locations across Texas and California have confirmed that batter is prepared in massive batches at the beginning of the week and stored in walk-in coolers until it's gone. By day 4, the mixture develops a sour smell and changes texture, but it still gets served to unsuspecting customers. Even more concerning are those iconic syrup dispensers on every table. A 2019 health inspection report from Illinois found that 70% of IHOP locations had never properly cleaned their syrup dispensing systems. The tubing inside these dispensers creates the perfect environment for mold and bacteria growth. One former manager uploaded photos showing black slime coating the inside of syrup lines that hadn't been cleaned in over 6 months. When you pour that amber liquid on your pancakes, you might be getting more than maple flavor. The temperature violations extend beyond batter storage. Eggs are often cracked hours before the breakfast rush and left sitting in containers that exceed safe temperatures. Former employees from locations in Arizona and Florida report butter pats left unrefrigerated during busy periods, sometimes for entire shifts. One worker said the butter would be completely melted and separated by closing time, but management instructed staff to simply chill it overnight and serve it again the next morning. But if you think pancakes are bad, wait until you see what's happening with the nation's most trusted donut chain. The orange and pink logo promises, "America runs on Dunkin'." But what's really powering your morning might shock you. Those glazed donuts sitting in the display case aren't as fresh as you think, and that coffee you're counting on could be brewing more than caffeine. Former employees from over 30 locations across Massachusetts and New York have revealed that donuts are routinely sold 2 to 3 days after baking. The fresh stickers you see, they're applied daily regardless of when the donuts were actually made. A 2022 internal audit found that 68% of Dunkin' locations were selling day-old pastries as fresh, with some items sitting in storage for up to 72 hours before reaching customers. The real problem lies in what you can't see. Those coffee machines that pump out millions of cups daily are supposed to undergo deep cleaning cycles every 4 hours. But during peak morning rushes, employees consistently skip these protocols to keep lines moving. A maintenance technician who services equipment at multiple Boston area locations shared photos of coffee machine interiors coated with brown residue and visible mold growth. The buildup was so severe that some machines were breeding bacteria faster than they were brewing coffee. Temperature control is equally concerning. Multiple former workers have reported cream and milk left at room temperature for hours during busy periods. One employee from a Connecticut location said half-and-half containers would sit out for entire morning shifts, well beyond the 2-hour safety limit. Health inspection reports from 2023 show repeated violations for pest activity in food storage areas, with rodent droppings found near donut preparation stations in locations across New Jersey and Pennsylvania. Speaking of sweet deceptions, let's talk about a chain that's built its empire on the illusion of homemade goodness. Cracker Barrel has spent decades perfecting an image of country cooking and grandma's recipes, complete with rocking chairs and old-fashioned charm. But that wholesome facade crumbles when you discover what's really happening in their kitchens. Your home-style breakfast isn't homemade at all. According to multiple former kitchen managers from locations across Tennessee and Georgia, 80% of Cracker Barrel's breakfast items arrive frozen and are simply reheated in industrial microwaves. Those fluffy biscuits that taste like they came from grandma's oven, they're made from frozen dough produced in a factory and shipped in boxes. A leaked training manual from 2023 reveals that employees are instructed to microwave frozen hash brown patties for exactly 90 seconds and serve them immediately, regardless of internal temperature. The deception runs deeper than frozen food. That creamy sausage gravy sitting in warming containers can stay there for up to 6 hours during busy weekend mornings. Former employees from locations in Kentucky and Alabama report that gravy develops a thick skin on top and separates, but management requires servers to stir it and keep serving rather than make fresh batches. The warming containers maintain temperatures between 110 and 120 degrees, which falls directly in the danger zone where bacteria multiply rapidly. Perhaps most disturbing are employee testimonials about expired meat products. A former cook from a Missouri location uploaded photos showing bacon packages with dates scratched out and new labels applied. Another worker reported being instructed to use sausage that had turned gray and developed an off smell, with supervisors saying the seasoning would mask any problems. Health inspection reports from 2024 show temperature violations at 43% of randomly audited locations. But even chains that pride themselves on speed and efficiency can't seem to keep their breakfast safe. McDonald's breakfast might be fast, but that speed comes with some seriously questionable shortcuts. When you order an Egg McMuffin at 6:30 in the morning, you're probably getting ingredients that have been sitting around since the night before, and that fresh cracked egg marketing is one of the biggest lies in fast food. Those golden hash browns that seem so crispy, former employees from locations across California and Texas reveal that the oil used to cook them often goes unchanged for 3 to 4 days. A 2023 internal memo leaked from a Chicago area franchise showed that oil change schedules were being extended to cut costs, with some locations using the same oil for over 90 hours of continuous cooking. The result is hash browns that taste increasingly bitter and absorb more grease as the oil breaks down. The fresh cracked egg claim is perhaps the most misleading. While McDonald's does crack fresh eggs for some items, the majority of breakfast sandwiches use pre-cooked frozen egg patties that arrive in boxes. These round yellow discs are reheated on the grill and can sit under heat lamps for up to 20 minutes before being served. A former manager from Florida shared photos of these egg patties, describing them as rubbery hockey pucks that barely resemble real eggs. Temperature control becomes even more problematic during overnight shifts when skeleton crews handle breakfast prep. Multiple former employees report sausage patties left at room temperature for hours, and breakfast sandwiches served with cheese so cold and congealed it never melted. Health inspection data from 2024 shows that 61% of McDonald's locations had at least one temperature violation during breakfast hours. If you think fast food breakfast is the problem, wait until you see what's happening at sit-down family restaurants. Denny's 24/7 operation might seem convenient, but those round-the-clock hours create perfect conditions for food safety disasters. When you're eating at 3 in the morning, you're relying on skeleton crews who are often undertrained, overworked, and taking shortcuts that could make you seriously sick. The biggest problem happens during overnight shifts when minimal staff handle maximum responsibility. Former employees from locations in Nevada and Arizona report that temperature checks are routinely skipped to speed up service during late-night rushes. One night shift cook revealed that thermometers were often forgotten in walk-in coolers, and food temperatures were simply logged as acceptable without actual verification. This practice violates basic food safety protocols that exist to prevent bacterial growth. Hollandaise sauce presents a particularly dangerous situation. This egg-based sauce requires constant temperature monitoring, but multiple former workers report it being left at room temperature for 4 to 6 hours during busy periods. A former server from a Colorado location shared that Hollandaise would develop a film on top and change color, but managers instructed staff to stir it and keep serving rather than discard it. Perhaps most disturbing are reports of the 5-second rule being applied in professional kitchens. Former employees from locations across Michigan and Ohio have admitted to serving food that was dropped on the floor, with supervisors saying customers would never know. Health inspection records from 2024 show that 78% of Denny's locations had violations for improper food storage, with some infractions involving raw meat stored above ready-to-eat items. But perhaps the most shocking revelations come from a chain that markets itself as healthy and fresh. Panera Bread has built an empire on the promise of fresh, artisanal food that's supposedly baked daily in each location. Walk into any Panera, and you'll smell bread baking, see flour-dusted surfaces, and hear marketing messages about handcrafted quality. But that carefully constructed image is mostly theater designed to hide a very different reality. Those bagels and pastries you think are made fresh every morning? They arrive frozen from central production facilities and are simply reheated in convection ovens. A former baker from a Virginia location revealed that over 90% of baked goods come pre-made, with employees instructed to time the reheating so customers smell fresh bread during peak hours. The actual baking you hear is often just day-old items being refreshed to appear newly made. The soup situation is even more concerning. Multiple former employees from locations across Pennsylvania and North Carolina report that soup bases are kept in containers for up to 5 days, with workers adding water and seasoning to stretch portions when supplies run low. One manager shared that soups would develop thick films on top after sitting for days, but staff were trained to stir vigorously and serve anyway. Coffee and beverage dispensers present their own problems. Despite corporate claims of frequent cleaning, former workers reveal that urns and dispensers are cleaned far less often than advertised. A 2024 internal audit found that 73% of locations were not following proper cleaning schedules for beverage equipment. Perhaps most troubling, multiple former employees report intense pressure to serve expired items rather than waste food, with managers instructing staff to remove expiration stickers and continue serving questionable products. The deception continues at a chain that's fooled millions into thinking they're getting quality breakfast. Waffle House's open kitchen concept might seem transparent, but that visibility actually works against customers by normalizing practices that would horrify you in a closed kitchen. When you can see everything happening, dangerous shortcuts start to look like normal operations, and what appears to be fast-paced efficiency is often just health code violations in plain sight. The biggest problem lies with those iconic flat-top grills that never seem to shut down. Former employees from locations across Georgia and Alabama report that grills are scraped clean between orders, but rarely receive proper deep cleaning. Grease buildup becomes so severe that it creates genuine fire hazards, with some locations experiencing small grease fires multiple times per month. A maintenance worker who services equipment at over 20 Waffle House locations shared photos showing grease accumulation so thick it had carbonized into black chunks. Cross-contamination happens constantly in the rushed environment. Employees routinely handle raw bacon and sausage, then immediately touch hash browns, toast, and other ready-to-eat items without washing hands or changing gloves. One former cook from a Tennessee location admitted that during busy periods, proper hand washing was impossible to maintain while keeping up with orders. The hash browns present their own concerns. That oil bubbling away in deep fryers often contains visible debris and burnt particles that should have been filtered out days ago. Health inspection records from 2024 show that 84% of randomly audited Waffle House locations had violations for improper food storage or temperature control. Former employees report eggs left unrefrigerated during shift changes and waffle batter stored at dangerous temperatures for hours. But the final restaurant on our list might shock you the most, because it's where many people take their families for special occasions. Bob Evans has perfected the art of farm-to-table theater, complete with rustic decor and marketing that promises wholesome meals made from scratch. The restaurants are designed to evoke memories of Grandma's kitchen and simpler times when food was real and honest. But that carefully crafted image is built on a foundation of lies that would make any actual farmer sick to their stomach. Those creamy mashed potatoes that taste so comforting? They're made from instant potato flakes mixed with water and artificial butter flavoring. A former kitchen manager from an Ohio location revealed that mashed potatoes arrive in 50-pound boxes of dehydrated powder, with employees adding hot water and margarine to create what customers believe are fresh potatoes. The process takes less than 5 minutes and produces a product that bears little resemblance to actual potatoes beyond appearance. Temperature control violations are rampant throughout the chain. Former employees from locations across Indiana and West Virginia report sausage links sitting out for up to 8 hours during busy weekend breakfast shifts. One worker shared photos of sausage links that had turned gray and developed a slimy texture, but management insisted they be served anyway. The breakfast meat is often kept in warming trays that maintain temperatures between 90 and 110 degrees, creating perfect conditions for bacterial growth. Perhaps most disturbing are reports about moldy bread being served to customers. Multiple former employees have testified that managers instructed them to cut off visible mold and serve the remaining portions rather than discard entire loaves. Health inspection data from 2024 reveals that 69% of Bob Evans locations had violations for improper cleaning of equipment and utensils, with some inspectors finding food residue on supposedly clean surfaces. And our final stop reveals perhaps the most disturbing practices of all. Subway's breakfast expansion seemed like a natural move for the sandwich giant, but adding hot food to an operation designed for cold cuts has created a perfect storm of food safety disasters. When you order a breakfast sandwich at Subway, you're gambling with your health in ways that would make their regular menu problems seem minor by comparison. Those fluffy scrambled eggs on your breakfast sandwich were actually cooked hours earlier and have been sitting in warming containers ever since. Former employees from locations across New York and California report that eggs are batch cooked at 5 in the morning and reheated throughout the day until closing time. By afternoon, the eggs develop a rubbery texture and off-putting smell, but employees are instructed to serve them anyway to avoid waste. Cross-contamination reaches dangerous levels when the same cutting boards used for raw deli meats are immediately used for breakfast items without proper sanitization. A former manager from a Texas location shared that during busy morning rushes, employees would slice ham for regular sandwiches, then immediately cut cheese and vegetables for breakfast items using the same unwashed boards. The time pressure makes proper cleaning protocols impossible to follow. Temperature control becomes critical with hot breakfast items, but Subway's infrastructure wasn't designed for this challenge. Multiple former workers report that breakfast sandwich ingredients are often stored overnight at improper temperatures, with items like pre-cooked bacon and sausage left in containers that exceed safe storage limits. Health inspection data from 2024 shows that 91% of Subway locations offering breakfast had at least one temperature violation during morning hours. Former employees also reveal intense pressure to serve expired items, with managers instructing staff to remove date labels rather than discard questionable products.